Started recording. So I didn't okay, so I think if this goes on YouTube, I think something kind of awesome about our friendship is the fact that you are a DC person and I like Marvel. And I think that is kind of cool that we like the different superhero like powerhouses, I guess.
Like very organically different sides of the big two.
Yeah, and I think we both can say that we both like aspects of Marvel and DC. We can recognize that DC does some really cool things. We can also recognize Marvel does some really cool things. We can also recognize they both suck. We're not those two types of people like the dudes and the bros measuring each other's dicks and who's better. No, I think they both suck and they could be better.
The thing about the dude bros is on their best days they get half of it. Because they'll hate and shit on the other guy for doing something that our party did maybe first. That's the nature of this. Like, DC and Marvel are both shitty in many, many ways. But also, they're great in other ways.
Yeah.
You just have to take both. You have to take the misogyny with the empowerment. You have to take the racism with the Black Panthers of it all. Like, you have to recognize it's going to have a lot of good and a lot of bad. That's the nature of the beast of them being the big two.
Yeah.
So yeah, proceed.
So what I find fascinating, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about is Marvel in the sense on where they're pivoting to in their general storyline. So basically, I did research. Marvel is in what they're calling the multiverse saga of this next step moving forward. I wanted to throw out some numbers here because I think it's kind of the issue with Marvel now.
I also have a question.
Yeah.
Haven't they been in the multiverse saga?
Yes, I'll get to that. I'll get you to the numbers. So the first saga they were in was the Infinity Saga. That started in 2008 with the first Iron Man movie. And depending on what you Google, it either ended at Endgame or it ended at Spider-Man Far From Home. Regardless, that was 2019. That was an 11-year saga. So
yeah,
we are
and
now
multiple phases within the saga.
Yeah, so it was phases 1 through 3, 1, 2, 3, spanning over 11 years. We are now in the multiverse saga, which, from what I saw, it's going to be phases 4, 5, and 6. Started in 2021. And if I were to hazard a guess, is probably ending with the Avengers, like, Secret Wars. I think that will probably be the end the end movie. That is supposed to be coming out in 2027. So that's 6 years.
6 years?
So you went from 11 years doing 3 different phases to 6 years trying to cover the same amount of phases.
And also, way more content within each phase. If I'm remembering correctly, the first phase was like 6 movies. Or something. Or like, if you count Avengers, and it was like 7.
Yeah.
It was like each of the main guys and then the team up. But like, I feel like phase 4 of like, or I guess the first phase of whatever this multiverse saga was, is like 37 million minutes of TV shows.
Yes.
And also like 17 movies. Like,
yes.
I don't even know. They've just done so much and like scrapped so many of the things.
And I think
also,
that
wasn't it supposed to be Kong?
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to get to. So that's one of the issues I think hopefully a lot of fans can agree that they just released so much content in such a short amount of time, so they were prioritizing quantity instead of quality. I really think so. It really shows. So in the multiverse saga, how do you say his name? Kong?
Who's he?
Kang?
I don't know.
Kang?
I am a tourist on the Marvel side.
I didn't see the movie he was in.
I've seen Kang.
Anyways.
It makes me think of the dog toy either way.
Someone the Conqueror. That's I don't know. Kong the
I feel
Conqueror.
like King the Conqueror has more of the
Kang.
like alliteration they used to go for in the 60s.
So I'm gonna go with Kang. Kang the Conqueror was supposed to be the major antagonist in the multiverse saga.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Marvel had to pivot because Jonathan Majors was who was casted as Kang in Loki and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium, was found guilty of a misdemeanor assault and harassment in a New York City case against his ex-girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
He received probation and was ordered to complete a year-long domestic violence intervention program instead of jail time, which is a problem in itself, but we don't have time to get there.
Yeah.
So, Marvel dropped his ass.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. But I have
Mm-hmm.
questions, and I'm confused on a lot of things. Because in July 2024, at a Marvel event, they announced Robert Downey Jr. would be Doctor Doom and the new antagonist in the multiverse saga. My question is, why didn't they just recast Kang? They've done it
That.
before.
And as if they haven't already literally just replaced one black man with another. The thing about this is it's the fucking multiverse saga. You've established that you don't have to have the same person played by the same actor in your fucking Spider-Man movie. Like, everyone rode your dick for getting 3 different actors
And it
from
was
3
good.
different eras of Spider-Man.
I didn't see it.
And you're telling me not one of them said, hey, here's a thought. What if, instead of scrapping this whole thing that we've apparently spending years and years and years building up to, what if we just recast him and say it's an alternate of him?
Yeah, like the thing is, they've recasted characters before and like didn't even make sense. Like the original Hulk they recasted, War Machine they recasted. I don't remember the actor's name. They're really escaping my brain. But like I just don't understand why we didn't recast him.
You
Why
wouldn't have even
pivot?
had to explain it. It's a
Yeah.
fucking multiverse.
Why
you
pivot?
wouldn't have even had to go out of your way to be like, it was a political move. You could literally just be like, yeah, that's Earth 666 King. Ooh.
Yeah, like
They
what?
had it right there.
Honestly,
And instead, they just. I think it's also because there has been, I think for the first time in a long time, like this is a I don't know, this saga of Marvels, they're getting like consistent criticism. Before, I feel like in the Infinity Verse, it was like you were a hater if you had critiques. And maybe some of them had some kind of intellectual backing, but generally speaking, mainstream opinion was Marvel makes hits, everything they do is correct, and if there's a misstep, it's not the norm. And then that shifted into this, oh, they're actually doing too much, and maybe they should spend more time doing quality work instead of just every fucking thing. But, sorry. Even within that, like, I think true Marvel fans, like such as yourself, we're seeing that it was so much more nuanced than that, and that there was actually some really good stuff being made. Like, when they took the time to actually pay attention to their characters, take the story in a direction that made sense for, like, emotional arcs, they made some of the best stuff they ever made, period. And I think I am self-proclaimed that I'm more of a Marvel hater. I'll be the first to say that. I have many reasons. But I think one of the things that was so frustrating for me was like how predictably this all went. Because I knew the minute they started getting criticism consistently, all of the progress they made in terms of actually having interesting casts that are not just white straight guys would be the thing that they blamed. It would immediately fold to like that small but loud minority of fans who were like, we only want the white guys. We only want the Captain America versus Iron Mans of it all. Like, the people who were like, the real Marvel is like these 4 white dudes that they randomly like trauma bonded with or something. Like, that wasn't ever the problem. That was never like the people portraying these characters, the types of characters they were deciding to actually give a spotlight to was never the issue with a lot of these Marvel properties. I think it's honestly just the fact that they continually rushed things and kind of poorly wrote a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
or had absolute dog shit special effects because they kept throwing extra things onto their visual effects people and not ever giving them enough time. So, like, there are valid things that they were doing incorrectly that they could maybe say, okay, this is a pattern that we should change. And instead of like doing that, they said, let's pivot back to all of the same white guys that everyone used to love before. And let's also just quietly take all of the people and women specifically, and women of color that we were starting to platform and just either take them out of the conversation altogether or like really, really decentralize them. Like, where was the promo for Ironheart? So then when they inevitably say, oh, it just didn't do well, the numbers
Yeah.
just weren't there. Well, yeah, because you didn't try.
You didn't try. You didn't try. I didn't see anything of it. Like, even I'm like so deep in like, I wouldn't say I'm deep into Marvel. I just like recognize that they have, I like a lot of the characters that they have created, but I didn't see jack shit for that. No, no content creator for Marvel like on TikTok was talking about it. Nothing on Instagram was really posted about it. Like it, I don't even know if it did well. I don't know if any, like I can't tell you a single thing that happened into it because I, to be fair, I didn't watch it either because Marvel is unfortunately at that point too where just like there's so much content and so many movies, so many TV shows that like I'm just also tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, how can you keep up?
You
Especially
can't.
when there's so many different types of things, and then you're like, you had to watch this episode of this limited series to understand what this Easter egg in this one means.
Yeah,
Like,
because
that was
like
maybe cute for like the first couple phases. I lost interest in that quick.
yeah, like also in the fact that like it I appreciate all the different like spin-offs they are doing in the sense of giving time and energy to certain characters like Daredevil is getting a new TV show, which I think is really cool. I personally think the TV shows were probably their best content in a while, like WandaVision, Falcon and the
Hmm.
Winter Soldier. Those were really good. Loki was really good. Um, and like you can tell like time got put into that because if you look at the movies that also came out during those times, they were really focusing on TV. Those movies were shit. Because you had like weird movies like Thor: Love and Thunder, which was really bad. That was like trash.
That was so weird.
that
I didn't watch any of these, I will say.
I that was weird. And then we watched Multiverse of Madness, which could have been so cool, but was also just trash.
I just was very confused by choices made. I think that's the other thing. Like, they were so clearly, in my opinion, it was clear, chasing what they thought would be a hit or what they thought might go viral instead of like quality. I think WandaVision was like, it was the only one I watched, to be fair.
WandaVision was so good.
Overall, it had the most coherent and clear direction and like was intentionally about an emotional arc for the character, dealing with trauma and making a like why are they doing this? Answering those questions in a way that then informs okay, this was huge, but also there's this next step now. Like, now what? And it was such a beautiful setup for the potential of her being the villain, or even just leading up to her being a villain with Multiverse of Madness. And then Multiverse of Madness was just not it at all. And like I just get so confused about like if your whole shtick is how much you integrate everything, where is the proof that it's well integrated? Like I
Well,
think sometimes world building is actually, ironically enough, the thing they're sacrificing
mm-hmm,
when they say, but it's interconnected. And I'm like, is it though? You know?
yeah. It kind of brings me to the point where like I did I didn't do a lot of research, but I saw an article of what basically Avengers Doomsday is going to look like. And from my understanding, it's going to be very similar to like Infinity Wars, where like the teams are separated and they're all trying to fight to save, from my understanding, the multiverse from Doctor Doom. Because he's upset. I don't know why he's upset, but he's upset.
Wasn't this literally what the plot was going to be with Kang?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But Kang kind of makes sense because he was like the conqueror. He wanted to like the conquer all of the like timelines, from my understanding. But then they pivoted.
It was, like, his whole thing.
Yeah,
Just the way with
his
Thanos,
whole
the whole
shtick.
thing was that he wanted to court death. Like, there was a reason when it was Kang.
So the teams, from my understanding, from what I saw, there's going to be 5 of them. There's going to be the Fantastic Four, the new Fantastic Four. So, like, the one with the movie that just came out.
Yeah.
The Wakandans, which are, like, Shuri, M'Baku, and what's the villain's name in...
Namor?
No, I think.
He's with them now?
I don't know.
Namor. I don't know.
I don't go here really well, so I'm going to be real. Then the Avengers, the old Avengers, which consist of Thor, Loki, Sam, Ant-Man, and then Sam's lackey, who becomes the new Falcon. I don't remember his name. Joaquin, I think his name is.
Loki's on the Avengers team? The original villain for the first Avengers movie is now an Avenger?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I heard you.
You did.
Proceed.
And also, I also thought he died in his TV show. He didn't die, but he, like, became the thing to hold time together. So I'm a little confused on how that's going to interconnect. And then Thunderbolts with the new team. So that's going to be Bucky, Elena, Bob, and Ava, which is Ghost.
Is Bob? Oh, Bob. Okay.
Bob was the main dude in Thunderbolts, like the villain. An anti-hero, I'll call him. And then you have the X-Men, which is Professor X, Mystique, Gambit, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler.
Listen. At the end of the day, I'm sure this is great news for some Marvel fans. For me, where are the women?
So that's...
What are the numbers between the men and the women there? Because it seems very, like...
There's 5 women compared to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 men. Plus Doctor Doom. So 17 men. And from the list, there's obviously a lot of notable absences. So, where the fuck is Captain Marvel? Where's Carol Danvers? Where's Shang-Chi?
Where's her whole team of badass, very strong people? Where's America Chavez? Wasn't her whole thing that she can, like...
Also, I'm surprised Doctor Strange isn't there. I was a little shocked by that. Even though he's a man, I was confused by that. Because that was, like, his whole shtick, too, and... was... Where's Bruce? Are we just not gonna do a movie with the Hulk? Like, where'd he go? And then any member of the Guardians team. Like, where the fuck are they?
They said, with James Gunn out, we're out.
That's so facts, but, like... it's just, like, a weird... Also, I think Channing...
What about the Eternals?
I didn't watch that movie. I think it did bad.
To have gods?
I think it did bad, so they're not included.
But that's my thing, right? Like, that's my thing. At the end of the day, are you an interconnected universe, or are you a whatever hits stays, and if it misses, then just kidding, that was a fever dream?
Yeah, because, like...
Because you cannot maintain a narrative that you're planning 6 years in advance and everything's connected and there's a reason for all of it. If you're also going to be like, actually, that was a bust. Just kidding.
That was a JK. But I also, like, want to state that there's obviously maybe surprise cameos. Maybe we'll get... They're not announcing everything. But I just feel like if you're fighting supposedly like the end all be all, who's going to be Doctor Doom, I'm thinking is probably going to be stronger than Thanos because like this is the next. You can't make a villain weaker than Thanos. You got to move up, right? In my opinion.
Yeah.
So like, why wouldn't we
Leveling up
like?
is like the whole point.
Why wouldn't we put together our strongest people, which would probably be Captain Marvel, in my opinion. She's pretty tough. You would also probably think Wanda would want to be there because even though she's like dead, I don't think she's dead. It'd be stupid if they killed her.
You're telling me Agatha's alive, but that witch died? Nah.
Yeah, and also like
Nah.
because then you have like all the young Avengers like you talked about, like America Chavez.
Bishop.
Where's Kate Bishop?
America.
Where's Kamala? Where's Miss Marvel? Like, what the fuck? I just have a lot of questions.
And that's the thing too. Like, to be honest, I stopped caring as soon as they hired Robert. They hired that man back and said he's gonna be Dr.
I was
Doom.
so
And
annoyed.
I'm good, actually.
I was
like, I had
so
some interest in
annoyed.
some things, but that was when I like truly tapped out. Because for me, I was like, that was like the writing was on the wall in terms of the way they were going to pivot their focus. Like, not only is this a character that hasn't gotten, like, has there been, even in the Fantastic Four, any kind of build-up for Doctor Doom?
I didn't see the movie.
Any work done to, like, make this character one that, like, you're planting seeds within your different narratives that, like, there's massive ripple effects? Because I understand Infinity War was, like, kind of like an intro to Thanos in terms of, like, backstory and things, but we knew from post-credit scenes and
but that
general vibes, like, we knew about a lot of these things.
Yeah, that was the thing that they did really well in the Infinity Saga, I felt like, is they dropped nuggets of information on, like, what was going to come next. I think, especially those post-credit scenes were really good in Infinity Saga. I feel like they alluded to a lot what to come. But now I just feel like, I don't think Doctor Doom's ever been mentioned until now. But I didn't see Fantastic Four, so I can't really state that. But I thought they fought the Silver Surfer.
Galactus and Silver Surfer, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't they fight the Silver Surfer again?
I think it was, and that's the other thing, that, like, you cannot successfully have all of these different characters in a movie when you're also telling the whole story of the antagonist. Because, again, writing on the wall, this is going to become a Robert Downey Jr. milking every fucking thing he possibly can for all it's possibly worth, and all the other characters are going to, in some way or another, suffer for it. Because now, what you're doing is you have 5 different teams, and you're fully introducing your antagonist in terms of what are their intentions, what are they doing, what is their motivation,
Yeah.
and why do we care. All of that work now needs to be done with 5 teams, so you're already telling a fractal story, but then also there's zero familiarity with your villain from non-comics fans, and you have to give us the pitch of why are we so afraid? Like, why is this someone that you're like, holy shit, we need 5 different teams of all of Marvel's strongest characters to fight this person? Even if you do it as, like, this multiverse story where, like, there's 5 different worlds, and that's why they're all broken up into teams, because there's 5 different universes that are being affected by this. Even if you want to take that approach, you simply don't have the storytelling time within 1, 2.5, 3-hour movie to do all of that well. Even if you're relying on your audience's familiarity and, like, love and nostalgia for, like, we all loved the X-Men in the early 2000s. We were all mutant and proud, if you were gay.
100%.
Like, we all know the power of these different things separately. But, like, I just feel like even if they do it amazingly well, which I doubt, like, this is your first time having your X-Men and your Fantastic Four and your Avengers and all these
Something
different
people
teams
have
on the
been
same
wanting for
team.
like years
This
from
is
them all
what,
to
like, has been
interact.
years in the making, because in the 90s, to avoid bankruptcy, well, to stay as afloat as one could, being deeply in the red, they sold off all these characters and the rights to them. So like it's been essentially like an almost 30-year process of crawling their way back to ownership, and all this crazy shit with like becoming a massive, massive corporate machine, to finally have them all together again. And you're gonna essentially squander it because for whatever reason you decided to pivot a plan you apparently were working on for almost 10 years for
For
a character you've done no actual work to in any way introduce. You announced Robert Downey Jr., you said what, 2024, right? So it's been like over a year now. Fantastic Four came out. Like they could have had it be there. And maybe it was like a post-credit scene, but like
yeah, I didn't look at what the
Silver
post
Surfer's
credits.
not going to mention anybody else in the universe who's got a problem.
Yeah,
You know?
it's interesting because like I just feel like it's kind of like what you've been saying is they're going to hope that the names alone that are attached to this project are going to bring in the crowds, right? People are going to
Yeah, thank
see
you.
his name back on a Marvel project and they're going to come running. And I think that's just so sad because there's been so many great movies within some of the shit that has not gotten the spotlight it deserved, and some of the actors and actresses have taken hits for it.
Yeah.
So it's tough and it's so frustrating because like at the same time, like I like Marvel from a very much like back distance. I'm not in deep, like I said. I will be point blank honest, just find a lot of the women attractive.
You said, to be honest, if I wasn't gay, I might not be here.
That's actually kind of facts of like where I am. And and yeah, I think that's what it is. I just think they're nice to look at. They're nice to look at
I
when they're kicking ass.
that's that's fair enough. I also think they have really cool female characters in
Oh, I
Marvel.
agree.
Like they have so much potential and really, really cool fucking stories if they do them. Um
But they just don't.
yeah, and that's the other thing that is like a beef of mine with Marvel is like, why didn't they protect these actors? Specifically the female actors. They all rallied like the fucking Avengers for Chris Pratt when someone said something that was like a valid take on him. But like Brie Larson experienced so much hate,
So much
still is
hate.
experiencing so much fucking hate. She's catching strays just by breathing.
I love her
And
so much.
and she's like, not even just like, even if you just liked her as a person, whatever. She's like genuinely one of their most talented actors. She's won Oscars
Yeah.
long before Robert Downey Jr. bought his. Hey, sorry. I do have beef with him.
I have beef with him too. I just don't care for
but,
the
like,
man. Let's be so for
It's all
real.
right. But like dead ass, they have such talented people. Like even if we're just looking at the Brie Larson of it all, and that's taking out massive equations of racism, like you bring in someone who is an Oscar-winning talent, who's a very multifaceted creative, who has talent for fucking days on end, and an interest and an eagerness to just dive in. And then you cast her as objectively one of your strongest characters. And then you do nothing with her.
You not
You
only
give her
do
1.5 movies, because her sequel was ultimately her and multiple other people. And it seems like it was done well, but still,
So good.
it was like a team-up vibe.
it was so cute.
And then you barely use her in the Avengers movies. And then you justify being like, she's just so strong. That's a terrible excuse.
That's a terrible take. Like it was unfortunate too because with the whole Brie Larson thing is like her movie came at a really horrible time where no one really was gonna care about her as Carol Danvers as a character, because we just witnessed all our beloved characters that we love disintegrate before our eyes. And then because of that, they didn't, like you said, rally behind her when the online hate came for her. And, like, one of the interviews, like, that broke my heart was, like, someone asked if she was going to return as Captain Marvel, and she, like, dead-ass looks directly into the camera and goes, I don't know, do people still want me to? And I was just like, I want you to.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's so sad. Because the thing, too, is, like, there's still so much spin doctoring in Hollywood, and there's still so much media bullshit where, like, what you can say and what you can't say, like, that's such a signal of, like, that wasn't a joke. Like, maybe it was a joke and she can play it off as that, but, like, the fact that she felt so, like, beaten down and not protected from any of that, like, that just fucking sucks.
That does suck.
And I think that, like, there's so many issues with all these different kinds of movies. There's so many issues with the industry as a whole. But, like, the fact that simply because she's a woman, someone who is, like, as talented and connected and, like, respected, because an Oscar buys you a lot of respect in the industry, and hers was, like, truly well earned. All of those things still not being enough to even just have, like, the most basic, like, hey, don't bully our cast.
maybe be better.
Maybe, like, the most minimum, like, hey guys, let's maybe not bully them. That's just, like, really sad. That's a sad reality, and I think it's just, I don't know. I think there are so many problems on both ends of all the things, but I do think that there's been a lot of missteps with Marvel, and they've lost a lot of really good people, and it's just sad to see some of those cycles repeating from a standpoint of, like, I don't even think Brie necessarily would have wanted to leave, even if she is still attached. Like, hers isn't like a creative differences thing. Hers is a, like, I'm getting shit on every day.
I hope she comes back. I hope they're not done with her, because, like, the way they ended the Marvels is, like, she still needs to come back. She needs to go save, because basically what happens in the Marvels is Monica gets fucked off into another timeline.
Whoa. And then, little Miss Marvel doing? What's Kamala doing?
Moved to Kamala, I thought.
Sorry, I was just thinking of Kamala Harris.
I think it's how you say it. It's spelled the same way. I don't know if it's pronounced the same way now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now I'm just questioning. It's like, she's in New Orleans. She moved into the house that from the original Captain Marvel that they lived in. Yeah, her and her family moved into that house, from my understanding. But but I think with you saying that there's a lot of problems with the industry, do you want to kind of touch base on what's going on with Warner Brothers?
Well, there's just so much. I haven't done as much, like, updating as to, like, where we are today with it. But yeah, so, December 4th and 5th, it was, like, announced and sort of broke that Netflix sort of won the bid for Warner Brothers. For anyone who didn't know, Warner Brothers has been going through a lot.
They're Hot Mess Express with love.
Speak on it. And so basically, it's kind of been an ongoing thing, but about, I'd think, like, a year or two ago, Discovery bought, like, Time Warner Company, or essentially, like, all the things that AT&T used to own. That before then was, like, owned by Time Warner, all these things. There's been a lot of changing of the guard in terms of ownership. And created Warner Brothers Discovery with David Zaslav as the CEO. And he kind of just kept doing stupid shit. Stupid fucking shit. This is not gonna, if we release this, it's not gonna be for the kids. And a lot of that was sort of like alarm bells really started going off. With kind of two particular things. One that was huge news for both DC fans and just, like, general movie fans, which was they completely scrapped Batgirl after completing it entirely. They were finishing post-production, And they didn't just decide to not release it. It was going to be like a release to streaming to get a $90 million tax write-off, essentially. They didn't just say, hey, we're going to put it on the shelf. They destroyed the footage. So like the directors were like going back to salvage anything that they could. And basically the servers were wiped. And it was really, really fucked up.
That's insane behavior. Really, like, so crazy.
It's genuinely diabolical because it was the kind of move where we're already in this shifting tide of, as things go from like physical media into this sort of digital landscape, and specifically streaming, where something only lives on that streaming platform, or there's like only this digital version. You don't have any DVDs, you don't have any kind of like negatives or anything. Like you just have this sort of digital library. It becomes even more important for archiving, like to have some kind of copy of it. And basically, to be able to get this tax write-off in the way that they needed to, they like fully destroyed that with Batgirl, which was devastating. It was a truly devastating thing. It was a creative blow. Like everyone was like, this movie would have done well. It's not even like they released The Flash, which I liked, but like with the controversy of Ezra fucking Miller, you release a movie like that and literally lose hundreds of millions of dollars to get a $90 million tax write-off because of the shit you've been releasing and sinking like your own profits into. You're going into debt for your own stupid behavior, and then you said, okay, here's how we'll fix it. We'll completely destroy this passion project that all these really good, talented people worked on simply because it just, I don't know, makes sense to like two white guys. Crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, like, if you think about it that way, in the sense of how almost little control, like, a lot of these people have over the creative pieces they've created. Like, as soon as, like, they've created something under the name of, like, Warner Brothers or what have you, it's not necessarily theirs. Like, someone else has control over it, and that someone else can completely just wipe it away.
Yes, and that is the second fucked up thing they did, which was around the same time. They started removing libraries off of streamers of digital content. So whole TV shows that were like only available on a streaming platform were removed. Now you can't access them anywhere unless you just download them illegally. And so this was something that was also really, really troubling for many people, not just people in the industry, but like people who care about archiving and even just people who care about creativity, because this was a great example of exactly that, where like there were creators who were finding out like the main piece of their work, their main portfolio, their main resume, the main project they had a deep emotional attachment to that they worked on and were super proud of, was deleted and was like disappeared essentially. By news articles coming out. Like a lot of these things happen without any warning or notice. And that's so not okay, but this bullshit move started this tide turning where that started happening. Multiple streamers started doing things like that. Warner Brothers Discovery caught the most flack for it, but that became a really troubling trend that has happened many, many more times since. And so basically, David Zaslav thinks he's some media mogul and is acting like he is one and isn't. And it's very evident with the lack of making up any of the debt that Warner Brothers and sort of these various kind of sub companies have. So basically, it's kind of been like a conversation that we sort of knew where they might try to sell off Warner Brothers and sort of sell it off and have someone else buy it up. And so it began this huge bidding war. There's a lot more context and stuff to go into that I honestly don't know we should do on the pod. There's specifically one thing that is like kind of a crackpot conspiracy theory, but also I'm like, actually is concerningly possible. But essentially, Netflix put in this bid to get all of Warner Brothers, so film and television, HBO, all of the DC content, like all of Warner Brothers properties, except for its cable networks. CNN, for example, is one of those. Those things were not bought by Netflix, but this whole bidding war was, there was a lot of back and forth also with Paramount, who has many people at the top who not everybody is a fan of, particularly people who don't love conservative billionaires. And so after
You
Netflix
trying to
announced,
like walk around without just being blunt about it was really funny.
I'm like, we're barely able to figure out our audio. I don't want to get us disappeared.
We don't want to be Thanos snapped.
I don't want to be snapped. But Paramount didn't like that. And so then they said, well, we're going to do a hostile bid by partnering with Jared Kushner and the Saudis and Qatar and getting money to like try to put in this bid, and just like insane and diabolical behavior. And also everybody lost their mind about Netflix buying Warner Brothers, because the people who own Netflix are like historically assholes in terms of like the lack of royalties with streamers and things like that, but also like notoriously hates the theater experience, or if not hates it, like doesn't see the value in it, and really sees things as a content and sort of pushing content rather than creating really quality projects, you know? And so there's all these questions, there's all these concerns, there's like all these things where everyone is like, this is all bad. Like there's no version of this where things are good. And I think the thing that's really hard is like, this is a devastating thing for anyone who like loves creative media and film particularly, because the library that Warner Brothers has is one of the most historically valuable ones.
It's insane, actually, if you really think about it. It's massive.
It's massive. And so I'll touch on the crackpot theories, because these are just theories, and they're not things they're delulu, okay? We'll say it like that. Yeah, that'll avoid anyone.
They delulu.
These are delulu things that I'm gonna say. Totally delulu. The reason why I'm really fucking scared is because there is no good version of this. Since David Zaslav started doing this, honestly, the moment that they did that shit with Batgirl, I knew things were gonna get bad quick, because the amount of debt that these poorly managed owners of these different companies have done just like became unavoidable, and like you couldn't get them out. Like even the successes of something like Barbie like was not enough to like undo their poor life choices. So what happens when greedy capitalists smell blood in the water? They do what greedy capitalists do and try to see how much they can like take and how much they can exploit. So the sale of Warner Brothers I knew was not going to be good for a little while, and I'm sure people watching it more closely had even worse vibes. But the thing that makes me really worried is beyond the potential like obliteration of the theater going experience by Netflix taking Warner Brothers and essentially making any of their upcoming releases even smaller, if they even do theater releases for a lot of these projects, is that there is a potential that they're going to now use their Netflix library and the Warner Brothers library for AI. And I don't know if you've heard about this, but it seems like Disney has been talking about doing essentially like inviting user-generated AI content into the platform. And so
I saw that.
Yeah, and so there's this fear that once Netflix has their library, which already has a lot of really, really good content.
Scooby-Doo. I'm sorry. I've been thinking about it the entire time we've been talking about Warner Brothers and Scooby-Doo. It's like, it's been on my brain.
I don't disagree. I just like wasn't ready for it for some reason. Like Scooby-Doo is something we've talked about a lot. I in my head you're gonna be like, yeah, Stranger Things. And then you Scooby-Doo. Like I don't know why. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
but
thanks.
It really took me out.
I've been thinking about Scooby-Doo now.
I've been thinking about Scooby-Doo too, man. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe the way to combat all of this is to just watch the shit that was made before.
Yeah.
And own. But yeah, so there's the AI of it all. There's the potential death of an already very dying cinema of it all. And now there's the is Paramount going to try to take it and kind of really, really shoehorn it into a very specific kind of propaganda? Who knows? I also, the Lulu. I also saw someone who was tracking certain billionaires who are affiliated with Paramount and essentially were like, oh, it's interesting how they've decided to do this hostile bid now when the thing they seem to really want is perhaps just the cable companies, like, oh, I don't know, CNN.
CNN.
I don't know.
I don't
There's
know
just maybe like
why someone would be wanting that
potential.
though. Like, that's crazy
Well,
behavior.
the thing that I think is a potentially interesting coincidence of
Yeah, these
things,
are all just theories.
all theories, is that maybe conservative rich guy who told Donald Trump he would try to buy CNN to make it more pro-Trump is trying to force the sale of the cable networks, including CNN, prior to the midterms, specifically prior to the part of the year where media starts creating the narrative about the candidates prior to the midterms. Because if you say are able to purchase CNN in Q3 of 2026, that narrative's set in stone. But if you do something super aggressive and get, oh, I don't know, maybe some really unethical, super fucking unhumane and bad people like the Saudis to give you a bunch of cash and force that sale around, Q1 of 2026, there's a very different narrative you can have control over. And as we, specifically Americans, know, propaganda is strong here nowadays. There's a lot of it. It's
There
almost like they're
is.
trying to make us think we have a king. And yeah, I think there's just a lot of things going on that are really, really terrifying. Not just in terms of the AI of it, but also just the people who have all of the wealth, creating massive, massive wealth gaps, pushing as hard as they can to keep those gaps growing, and us having like very little we can do other than to maybe say, hey, Luigi, you were onto something. You know?
Yeah, it's also worrying in the sense of like, if you also think about it, like the monopolies of it all. Like, if Paramount controls now what Warner Brothers has, and like Netflix now is, it's just like insane if you think about like how many. If you look, like, if you break it down, what companies actually like own things and how many just like four companies just kind of run this world.
Yeah, it's really crazy that it is basically like four companies. It's like 4 to 10 companies who like run everything.
Run everything.
And the craziest fucking part of all of it is the fact that like Netflix buying Warner Brothers is like feels very much like it's giving monopoly,
Yeah.
and yet that would be like the least monopoly like move,
Like the
simply
lesser of two
because
evils.
Disney owns all of the things, and then also Paramount now owns a bunch of like there's so few people who actually own all the other things. So it's just crazy. It's really, really crazy. And I don't know, man. It's just I just wanted to like live, laugh, love.
And watch some cool
I just
shows.
wanted I just wanted to like be able to like watch a DC movie and be like, I'm gonna get the next one. Because that's not something I usually get. Where a Marvel fan has the problem of like, am I gonna get 17 versions of this with 4 spin-offs? Or am I gonna get a really great movie that stars this woman I like and then maybe she'll get disappeared by fanboys? And a DC fan's struggle is, man, I enjoyed this. Apparently everybody else didn't. Am I ever gonna see them again? That's, that's a struggle too.
That is a
Um,
struggle, and I also think that's why it's kind of hard, especially for me in a way, because like with Marvel, I feel like it's generally easier to find their content. Like, you could go to Disney and be like, hey, I want to watch Black Widow, I want to watch Iron Man, I want to watch Captain America, and it's there, right? It's easily accessible. But when it's funny because Taylor was like, oh, because we're watching, she's never seen all the Marvel movies. So I was like, okay, we can watch them. Like, we'll watch them in order. So we're watching them in release order instead of chronological order. So she's like, how do we do this for, like, the DC movies? And I go, I don't fucking know. I don't know how to do this.
The thing about DC, and this is in some ways actually, like, what I love, is that there's a lot more room for just, like, projects to breathe. Like, you can watch the Nolan Batman movies, or you can watch, like, the Snyder era. Like, you have a lot more creative control, ironically enough, because there isn't quite as much of a, like, uniformity and, like, it has to be adhering to this. Like, this is how we built the world. No, there's a lot more, especially if you like animation. Like, there's a lot, specifically in the late 90s and early 2000s, DC was cooking.
It was cooking. I love that shit. Teen Titans was my jam.
Honestly, if you want to do a, like, chronological DC watch Superman the animated series and Batman the animated series. Then watch Justice League the animated series.
Justice League slaps. I love the Justice League.
That shit fucks.
That shit did fuck.
That is bangers. Because the craziest part is, like, so those primarily those 4 shows, also Static Shock, some good ones. Yes.
How do you watch them though? Like, where are they on?
They're on HBO.
Oh, cool.
Or Max. HBO Max.
Okay, cool.
I also have Batman the animated series and the first volume of Superman on DVD, but we don't live near each other anymore, so I can't really, like, give
just, like, yeet it. No, but okay, yeah, like, that's the thing though, because like, I hope those things will still be there when we get to watch it.
Yeah, it's hard. I really really love those, and, like, for a while they were also on Netflix, but you also have them on HBO Max.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, and, like, there's so much really cool content, and, like, similar creative teams, and a lot of care was put into it. Like, you can tell how much they loved making those shows. Specifically Batman the animated series. Like, it was one of those, like, moments where it was like they struck gold and just, like, had really really beautiful art, and also got great voice acting cast, great directing, like, great creating was happening, and a lot of, like, specifically, like, you know, Kevin Conroy, like, a lot of those people, he was Batman for forever. Like, he voiced Batman throughout all of the animated TV shows, and then they created a bunch of different animated movies, and he voiced not all of them, but, like, a good amount of them. And then, like, they even honored him in the live action, like, CW era, like, universe of DC shows, where he played a version of Batman in their little Crisis on Infinite Earths, like, storyline. So, like, there's a lot of interconnected things to be found, but specifically more so with TV. And I think there's actually, like, a lot of merit to a TV with a lot of overlap type of setting. Because, I mean, it's already long form storytelling. Like, it's short form storytelling, but, like, you know you're gonna get however many episodes.
Yeah, I do have to say, it's where I feel like, because I haven't watched a lot of the DC movies, like the Batmans and stuff, but I do have to say, I do think that's where DC kind of thrived, was the TV shows that they did. I think that some of those TV shows I've seen are really good. Like, I watched, I think, it's Arrow DC? Arrow's DC, right? Arrow was good. I like the Arrow. Like, part of it. That was good.
Yeah.
You don't like talking about Supergirl.
Okay, no. When I looked at my phone, I was looking to see if the new trailer dropped.
Oh, yeah.
I love Supergirl.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The show is, okay, I think anyone who is gay and a DC fan can agree with me when I say it wasn't a good show. But it was great. It was so bad and also so good.
Oh, I love a show like that.
Yeah, it was the thing too with like Supergirl's a really good example of like the first season was really, really interesting stuff that they were doing, and it was on CBS. And then they canceled it on CBS, and it was picked up by the CW, and then like fully merged into the sort of Arrowverse. And I think like season two and season three, you can really see the ways where they were just not, in my opinion, like really mismanaging the character and the property. Because even though there was like a lot of good moments, they were so clearly trying to like shoehorn a male stand-in for like one of the shitty execs on the show in season two. Then the main actress for Supergirl like fell in love with him and married him IRL. But then like
I
they
remember
kept bringing
this.
him back in season three, and everyone was like, "It's hilarious how you marry this man and have no chemistry with him." Like to the extent where one of the like cast members towards after the show ended like made a joke about it at a con. Um, but like
That's
it was
savage.
just such a like it was the kind of fandom where like baby girl you had to be there because it was like the
I feel like I
queer
missed out.
baiting was on another level, but also like as much as season two like there was a lot of shitty things, it also introduced that character. Like there's all these really cool, it's a good like we could do a fandom deep dive into like how fan fiction really revitalizes kind of shitty content.
Relatable.
Because truly, like, the fan fiction is what kept me going back to that show because I was like, man, if only they did this. Like, they have so much talent in their cast. If only they did something with it. And then I'd read the fan fiction what they do. And then I was like, okay, I just need, like, to see them on screen and, like, see what these actors do with this. They gave them nothing, but they're still eating. And then I went back to the fanfics and I was like, okay, now let me actually have the storylines I want to see.
Yeah, the fan fiction
Um,
will always fill in the blanks where the show just can't do it. They're too scared to do it. The writers aren't scared to have them kiss.
Yeah, or even like to be completely real, like it was the fucking CW. Like the fan fiction writers can write about Kryptonian powers without worrying about a budget that's already too small to do what you need to
That's
do.
fair.
You know, like they could, and also specifically like Kara Zor-El, Kara. Some call her Kara. I call her Kara. I do prefer that pronunciation. That was from the TV show. Um, she is so fucking cool. Like she is such an interesting character because all of the critiques I feel like people give Superman of like, oh, he's just a Boy Scout and da 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 da. He's too strong. She has all of the things that like makes him interesting to me, but like on X Games mode. Because she's not a goody two shoes in the way that she is, in the way that he is. She's fucking angry. She watched her planet die. Like where Kal-El was a baby when Krypton exploded, Kara Zor-El was a teenager who lived like, depending on which comic you read, like 13 or 15 years on Krypton, and then like was supposed to like was sent away by her parents to protect Cal. Like she doesn't mourn an idea of her people and her home planet. She mourns something she lived. She is Kryptonian in a way he never will be, and there's so much anger and pain and like resentment that she has that he can just never understand. So she's a character who's so much more like interesting to me. She's also like objectively stronger. Um and this is something a lot of the fanboys will go back and forth on. It's the same way where they're like Wonder Woman's not stronger than Superman, and I'm like, well,
Well,
yeah. But the thing about the Supergirl argument is that like the logic of the comics further reiterates that she's stronger because the whole thing is
good.
like their cells are strengthened by a yellow sun and he's been exposed to it longer than her, so for her like she had more time on a red sun planet, so here it's like it's an amplified experience because it like affects her cell like chemistry differently. And I love being able to be like, actually, guys, the science of the
Actually,
comics says, you know, like I do
actually
love being
sit
able to hit
down.
him with the like, because that's the thing with comics, especially like for every comic I can cite where Wonder Woman beats Superman, there's one where he beats her. You know, like it's just the nature of like the beast.
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, I don't know how I got here.
I asked a question, and here we are.
I don't even remember what the question was. I think the last question you asked me was like about Warner Brothers being fucked.
I did ask that. But yeah, I just think I guess we'll in like the end of the day, I guess we'll see what happens with Marvel being what they did with this movie that I will probably unfortunately go see because I do
Yeah.
like some of those actors. Do
Yeah.
like them. And then I guess we'll also see what happens with Warner Brothers, see who buys it, and hope for the best of the two evils.
Yeah. I hate that I'm rooting for Netflix
That's
because
crazy
it's the
behavior.
least bad option. Yeah, I'm also very grateful we're getting the Supergirl movie before all of this stuff fully goes through. Because, like, I can handle just writing my own fiction, like fan fiction for like the DC universe as a whole. But when you've been teasing me for almost a year about like Millie Alcott's Supergirl, and I've seen you fuck up Supergirl so many times, I just need to see you get it right.
I just need
I'm
you to
begging
see
you.
this, see it right before it all goes
I'm
to
on my
shit.
That's the thing. Like, even in the instances where they've gotten it right, it still has been fucked over by one thing or another, you know?
Naturally, you can't have nice
So,
things.
you really can't. And if you do, and if you do get something nice, someone's gonna immediately shit on you for liking it. Because the way that I, to this day, think Birds of Prey is one of my favorite fucking
I
movies.
love that fucking movie so much.
I love that
The
movie.
movie's
And
so
the
fucking good.
so good. And the popular discourse is that it's bad because white guys didn't like it because it
It
wasn't
wasn't
for
for
them.
them.
It was never meant to
Jinx.
be for them.
It wasn't for them. That was for us.
Yeah, you guys get everything else. Like, let us have this one
Yeah,
thing.
let's have this one kick-ass movie where they're doing kick-ass things with a kick-ass soundtrack.
What a dope fucking movie with a really cool director. Yeah, I have actually like accidentally stumbled upon rewatching that movie like once a year, and it's amazing
Ugh.
every time.
I gotta watch
Fucking
it.
love it.
I'm gonna have to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a while.
Do you have my? Well, we're not
Mm-hmm.
recording. Yeah. You still have it, right?
Yeah. I'm picking up what you're laying down. Don't you worry.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, it's on there.
Okay. Maybe we'll cut there before we dox ourselves any further.
We should like release that as like a promo clip of like you and your bestie. You that's your bestie. Like, you know it's your bestie when, and then just like